Welcome as we share together and exploring the passage from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 5, verse 1 through 11. The philosopher Socrates once said, "Wisdom begins in wonder." I believe there is so much truth to those words. Wisdom begins in wonder. In a way, I suppose it may seem contrary to what we think to be true if we associate wisdom with knowledge. Yet wisdom is not so much knowing on an intellectual level, but rather knowing on a spiritual level. Wisdom is about grasping an understanding that is beyond words. Indeed, wisdom does begin in wonder, and wonder is what happens when we stand in the awesome presence of God, revealed in one another and in the world around us. Like the beginning of the long-beloved hymn George played for us today, "How Great Thou Art." The beginning says, "O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the world thy hands hath made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed." Wonder is what often seizes us when we don't expect it, when we haven't anticipated it, when we are struck with an experience beyond our comprehension, a moment of unexpected beauty, of joy, of peace, a moment of deep appreciation and gratitude. Who is not in awe of the appearance of a rainbow in the sky? I know for me, it doesn't matter how many times I have seen a rainbow in my life, I have to stop and just stand there in the awe and wonder of it every time. Yes, I get the science behind it, that the droplets of water act like prisms that divide the light into these beautiful colors, but that doesn't diminish the awe. It doesn't take away the wonder that it's even possible and that I happen to be in the right place at the right time to appreciate it. Wonder teaches us about wisdom. In such moments, knowing and yet not fully comprehending create a wisdom of acceptance and awe. And when we are open to wonder, we will discover that such moments abound around us in innumerable ways. Or how can I explain that within a few days of me thinking about making a connection with a particular person, that individual, out of the clear blue, or maybe not, contacted me? Wonder happens. And wisdom is accepting it as it is and being grateful for it. Our biblical readings are so often about wonder and the wisdom of opening up to the message they convey in our lives today. And in this moment, it is the Luke's story of Jesus' invitation to follow him. Fame for his healings and his teaching have followed him, so much so that crowds began to flock around him wherever he was. And so in this story, that is the case. And he notices a boat along the shoreline and gets into it and asks Simon Peter to move it out a little bit away from the shore so he can sit there and teach the people all at once. And he shared with them the words of assurance and liberty and hope, I'm sure, although I have to say the story does not focus on what he actually said to the people, but the story is about what came later, after he was done teaching. He asked Simon Peter to take the boat out to deeper water and cast their nets out to catch some fish. Now, they had already been out fishing, and they came back empty. And they were in the process of cleaning their nets and putting them away in storage until the next time they went out to fish. But nevertheless, Simon Peter agreed to go and drop the nets in with little expectation that they would be filled. But wasn't he and all who were there to witness it astonished when the nets came up so heavy that they needed help in order to haul them out? As a matter of fact, Peter was embarrassed. And he fell to his knees with humility before Jesus, who essentially says to him, "Don't worry about it. But from now on, I want you to take a lesson from this. And from now on, I want you to apply that to catching the hearts of people in the nets of transforming love. What they witnessed in wonder that day led Simon Peter, James, and John to walk away from their boats and head out on a new course of following Jesus and his teachings. What they experienced changed their lives. Their wonder brought them wisdom. And as one commentator wrote, if we are unwilling to do the ridiculous, we will never see the miraculous. If Simon Peter stubbornly denied Jesus' request to take the boat out after having put away their nets because he knew that there weren't any fish to catch, he would have missed the miraculous, the wonder. He would have missed the reality that wonder happens. If we are willing to remain open to the possibilities and see that for ourselves. Clearly, that moment made a huge impact on Peter and James and John, and they became his disciples that day. They opened themselves up in that moment to wonder. What does the story say to us today, now in this moment? I think it encourages us to always remain open to wonder, open to the possibilities, instead of thinking that we have all the answers or that we know the outcomes and what they'll be. It means taking bold steps forward in hope, ready to receive more than we can imagine because we will. That's how it works. Our sense of wonder brings along the wisdom to trust in the possibilities. And when we do, it is amazing the transformation that reshapes our lives, our actions, our words, our beliefs. The church is challenged in these days, as it has always been. The mission of the church has always been about caring for those in need, the hungry, the sick, the poor. Our personal mission as a church has been about committing to developing a spiritual life, expressing our faith through music, and welcoming everyone who wants to join with us. And within that is our sense of outreach to those in need, a belief that everyone matters. As people of faith, we essentially say yes to that mission, even when it is difficult to do. It's not easy. It's never been easy. And perhaps in these days of not being together physically in our church makes it that much harder. But it is for this moment that we have been called. Of that I am sure, even when it is difficult to see how. Perhaps it is time for us to commit and recommit to an openness within that lets go of our preconceived ideas and convictions and rather see what wonders emerge. Jerry Spence said, "I would rather have a mind opened by wonder than one closed by belief." And so the what of the church's mission, the what of our purpose as followers of Jesus' teachings hasn't changed. To reach out to those in need, to spread the message of love, to invite, to show compassion, to speak and act in love and peace, to work for justice and equality. These are the same as they always have been from the first invitation to follow that Jesus extended to anyone who is willing to discover wonder, to anyone who is willing to open their mind in response to Jesus. The what we are called to do has not changed. It is the how that we too explore in new and exciting ways. The most faithful act in the story that we just read about Simon Peter was, in spite of having already been out unsuccessfully fishing, it was his response to Jesus' request saying, "If you say so." Had he not ventured beyond his sense of reasoning, he would never have experienced what followed, and he would never have decided to drop everything and change his entire life. The message is as much for the church as we look to discover how to serve faithfully, and as well for our individual lives. How do we move forward, remaining true to our call as followers of Christ in these days? It just might mean, and most certainly does, being willing to venture out of our comfort zones, being church in a new way, even when we don't actually know what that means. Listening deeply enough, opening our minds and hearts widely enough to recognize the possibilities, and being bold enough to respond to Jesus' invitation to spread the good news of love by getting out of our own way and declaring faithfully, "If you say so." When we are able to let go of what we think and open up to the ideas we never thought possible, we will, without a doubt, discover the rich and life-changing wonders of our faith. I hope you will join me on a journey of intention, personally and as a church, to practice letting go of what we think we know and remaining open to all the possibilities and the wonders that unfold. There are countless needs in our world, in our state, in our local community. How we respond as people of faith and wonder will make all the difference in fulfilling the call we have been invited to follow. Open your mind, and I will open mine, to see the direction we are being moved in today and tomorrow. It's guaranteed to be a life-transforming experience. Blessings and peace. Amen.